Hi from Electronic Arts. We'll be doing a talk today about some of the journeys of the team here into the games industry. And we'll share a little bit about the journeys we have and a little bit more about the opportunities we have at EA as well. I'll introduce myself first and I'll introduce the team. So I'm the lead recruiter for a couple of the game studios at EA. I'm a lead recruiter for Criterion Games in Guildford. I also work with some of our other studios such as Maxis, DICE who make Battlefield, and a number of mobile studios as well. I've been in the games industry now for coming on to 15 years. I actually come from, I didn't come from an educational background, I didn't do a degree, I actually came as a second lifer into EA, I did a different career, and I transitioned over into the games industry. So that was my path into the industry as well. I'm really excited to be here today. Bringing in different backgrounds and diverse talent into EA is really important to us. It's really important to both how we make the games and also our players as well, and the games we have like Sims and other games where it's such an important part of what we do. But I will hand over to Hannah to introduce herself and tell you a little bit about her, who she is, where she's from, and her journey into EA.
Hi everyone, my name is Hannah. I'm an assistant producer at EA Games. I went through the internship program and have been at EA for about 4 years. I didn't study anything related to games. I actually studied media communications and film at the Uni of Surrey, but found the internship program in my 3rd year and have been here ever since.
Hello, I'm Shay. I am born and raised in South London, and I literally just graduated like a couple weeks ago from university, and I'm an environment artist at EA. I recently just shipped my first game, which was Need for Speed Unbound. So I also did the internship program as well, which was how I got started in the industry. Hi.
Good morning. Oh, this is loud. So my name is Wilson, and I'm part of the cinematic team at EA. So my job involves in creating a lot of the cinematics, the cutscenes, the trailers you guys see. Before I got this job, I actually came from a background in film and visual effects. So I used to work in a company that did the most visual effects for Disney. I worked on The Little Mermaid, the new live adaptation. I worked on Pinocchio, and I got a chance to work on the new Deadpool that is coming out. And prior to get the jobs that I got now, I ended up going to college in Westminster Kingsway College, just in Central. And then I went to uni at Escape Studios, and that's where I graduated, and that's what allowed me to get my step into the industry. So nice to meet you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. So in terms of the format of this talk, what we're going to do, I've got a few sort of set questions that I'll ask the team, which I think will give you some insights into how to get into games and also with EA. But what we'll do after that is we'll give some time for the audience to ask questions as well. So spend the next sort of 5-10 minutes thinking about questions you have about either the games industry generally or specifically about kind of careers at EA. And between us, we'll try and answer those for you. So the first question I have for the panel is, what was it that first attracted you to a career in games and also EA? Who wants to go first?
I can go first. So around GCSE time, I was figuring out what I wanted to do. I've been drawing since I was like yay high. I've been given art supplies growing up, and I realized that like my love of video games, my first game being like Sonic games and stuff like that, was something that really interested me. But my mum, being super lovely and supportive, was also generally worried about like me being able to, live and not like be a starving artist, which was something to think about. And she mentioned, why don't you go into game art? That's something that's both a creative field, but also something that is more like interesting and fun, and not something that something that will actually interest you and make you want to wake up every morning and do something creative and interesting.
Actually, my experience was completely different than yours. I actually did not know what I wanted to do when I was in college. I think a lot of young people suffer from that, where you're in college and you're not really sure where you want to go as a career. And especially coming from and more African backgrounds, and my parents not really believing in creative arts as a career, and kind of trying to figure out what exactly I wanted to do while growing up in that environment. I wasn't too sure. And what I ended up doing was just getting a very broad course, a course that kind of could touch a lot of different areas. It was creative media at the time, back in Westminster Kingsway College, where I was able to do some 3D stuff, but also do some music stuff and do some journalism and some documentaries and some gaming. So in my case, I wasn't sure. I didn't know that I was going to end up in games or even in film. What I ended up doing was just kind of figuring out what I did not want to do. And I knew I didn't want to do any sort of accounting or like lawyer kind of stuff. So my route was just to do something creative, and as time went along, everything kind of just aligned into place. And yeah, that led me here, and that's how I got here.
I have quite a similar experience to you, actually, in that I was actually born and raised in Kuwait, which, if people know, borders Iraq and Saudi Arabia. And then I moved here to England and studied a broader course, so media communications and film, knowing that I didn't want to do anything with math or science or accounting. And it's actually through my university's placement portal that I found the EA internship. And many people that don't live in the West, for example, don't realize that there is a career in making games, and I was one of those people. And when I saw that there was an opportunity to intern as a producer at EA, I took that opportunity, and I fell in love with it, and I realized it was something that I was good at and something I enjoyed, and so that's how I ended up at Criterion Games.
Brilliant, thank you. And thinking about your journey into the kind of games industry, what advice would you give to anyone here today? You just pick one piece of advice, because there's probably lots you could give, that you would like to share that you've learned on your journey that will help them when they're looking for their role in games or in any medium.
Oh, I have tons.
You
We
can do more than one.
only have like 17 minutes, so I'll give one of the biggest advice that I wanted, or I received a lot of whilst I was at university, which is, I feel like there's a stigma, especially in the gaming industry, where gamers just work in their little goblin closets and stuff, just working on games all alone. You know, that's what a lot of indie developers do. But in actuality, the gaming industry is very collaborative, and to be collaborative, you also have to be, you have to be social. So yeah, just be happy and be motivated to actually meet people, talk to people, make connections, make a LinkedIn and connect with everyone on LinkedIn and reach out. The game industry especially is a bunch of friendly group of people, and chances are they're happy to give you advice and give you feedback if you need it. So yeah, and also be nice and be kind to people as well, because the gaming industry is also quite small as well. So people talk. So if people get a really good first impression out of you, they probably mention that to the other people that they know, and that will get around. So, you know, having a good first impression is also very important. It doesn't really matter how talented you are. Like, if you just work well with like a group of people, or if you just give off good vibes, you'd be hired. Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. The game industry is quite small, and really be out there, connect with people, share your LinkedIn. Your LinkedIn is really your profile. So if I meet you today, or if one of us meeting you today, we probably would like to connect with you on LinkedIn, and that's where we share job opportunities, internships, apprenticeships, anything if you really want to get into the industry, you really need to get your LinkedIn sorted, clear, presentable, and don't be afraid of messaging people as well. People are very friendly. They'll most likely going to reach out to you as well. Another advice I would give, especially for those who are at uni and are finishing uni and looking for a job now, I would say make sure you do get some work experience. I know it's really hard to say that, especially when you're at uni, but work experience, you can create that as well. I remember when I was at uni, I decided to freelance, and I had a friend who was a musician, and all I did was making a 3D music video for my friend, and just that little project, to me it was a project, but I can call it a job. Just because it wasn't paid doesn't make it not being a job. So just that experience that I had made a huge difference compared to the rest of my peers. And I was able to get a job for Disney within 2-3 weeks after graduation, just because I did had some work experience, even though I created that experience myself. So really don't underestimate the ability of doing your own projects and call that as work experience, because it also is.
I can only speak from my experience going through the internship route, but if anybody does want to go through that route, something that I learned through the interview process and going through it was that I didn't have to come from a background of having studied games. I know that's really common nowadays when we do interview new interns. At the time, I remember I was interviewed by like 6 pairs of people, all from different departments, the art department, production, game design, and then I remember when the coder interviewers came into the room, they asked me, how much do you know about code and actually making games? And I said, to be honest with you, I don't know much about it, but I applied to this internship because I'm here to learn and I want to learn. And so when you go that route, the expectation of you is that you're passionate about games and not necessarily that you know everything. And what really helped me through the interview process is using my past experiences where I'd come from, my degree, and applying those transferable skills to the job and saying, listen, I know that I am good with people and I can do the job of production. I feel like that's something where my strengths lie. And so if you can utilize your strengths and transfer it over to your interview processes, and when you talk to people in games during networking events or all these things, I think it can really help.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I'm looking at the time available, and I want to give an opportunity to the audience to ask us some questions. Are there any questions for the audience that you'd like to ask us as a panel, and we'll do our best to answer them and share our thoughts with you? Are there any questions from the audience? Hi, I think someone's coming over the mic for you.
Hi. Have any of you had any experience in regards to neurodiversity on your journey into games?
I think you said any experiences coming through the university system?
No, neurodiversity, autism, anything like that. Have any of you experienced any challenges in regard to?
Yeah, sorry, correct myself. So you said, what was my experiences through university?
Yeah, well, just getting into games.
Academic.
Yeah.
So university, I ended up going to Scape Studios, which is a private university, but it's really truly it's public. Anybody can go, and the only difference is because it's private, it's cheaper. I know it's contrary with most people think, and they have a course called Visual Effects, Animation, and Games. So if you're not sure exactly what direction you want to go, either film, television, or games, that's an amazing course to do. And in that university, because the whole university is about VFX and games, we get a lot of people from the industry. They come in, and to be honest, the experience while being there, in terms of learning and resources, I still had to do a lot of myself. I still had to do a lot of my own homework. Everything was super fast, was very collaborative as well, like you mentioned, because this industry is very collaborative. But what really was good about university that I would say that it made it worth, it was the connections. Because as soon as I finished, I already knew the recruiters from EA, from other studios, NPC, Framestore. I already knew these connections because these are people that used to come to my university all the time. And at the time, my LinkedIn as well was already structured. This is why I keep saying your LinkedIn is really important, because once I connected with these people, they'll see my LinkedIn, they'll see the structure of it, and they will reach out to me and give me opportunities. So I would say what you really want to get out of university is more about the connections and more about the links and opportunities that you get while you're there. Because really, truly, when it comes to art, your degree, like the result that you get, doesn't really matter. What matters is your showreel, your portfolio, the art that you actually produced, as well as the connections that you made. So that was my experience.
Wholeheartedly agree. Like literally everything that you said is what I mirror that honestly, I found that I went to De Montfort University. I went there because I believed that that was the best university for what I wanted to do, which was game art. But then I found that I actually, ironically, learned more when I was doing my internship and after I graduated and when I was working on the job than I did at university. University was great for the foundations and great for jumping off point and also amazing when it came to things like connections. But nowadays, we're in a world where university isn't a necessity, which is great because that student loan hurts and I still had to pay it all off. So, and it's just in the back of my head. But yeah, like it's definitely great for getting connections, but if you are able to do that by, going on forums, working in game jams, that was some things that I did was do game jams and just take part in collaborative projects here, there, all over the web. And then, you, like Hannah said, transferable skills, that can go a long way as well. So I feel like university isn't a necessity nowadays. It is great for that connections because they tend to have a lot more connections with industry, but it isn't the make or break.
I'll just add something from the kind of recruiter side of things. So we have sandwich internships between the second and third year. So students will do their first 2 years of university and they'll join us for a year in the studio, which is what Shay and Hannah both did. In that year, we don't have high expectations of what they can deliver when they join because they're still in the education system. And the aim of that is for us to help them understand how they can apply the learnings they've had from university in a work environment, in a game studio. We'll put them on the game credits. So I don't know if you've all been on the game credits. Yep. So these guys were, during their internships, getting their first game credit already. We'll then also try, if we can, to keep them on in the third year part-time while they finish their studies. And then hopefully then we can able to kind of bring them back as a kind of graduate later after they finish as well. And we've been doing that for a number of years. And we've actually just opened our internships this week for the UK. So anyone here who's looking at doing a placement between the second and third year, actually EA has, I think we have 5 roles open in the UK in Guildford at the moment. So that's kind of what we do at EA. Are there any other questions that anyone wanted to ask us? Okay, well I can't see any questions in the room, but I have another one that I can share for the group. Thinking about your experiences getting a role in games, what would you like to see games companies and employers do to improve their engagement with more diverse groups? What do you think's missing from your experiences? And I know that might be with EA, but that's fine, you can say that too.
I think that I do believe that the games industry and the VFX and films industry, which is my background as well, I do believe that they're very inclusive in terms of taking people in. However, I do believe that in our communities, especially like in the Black community, in African community, a lot of our parents don't really know that this is a career that is like we can get a lot of money from it. So what would help would just be more education. So if I knew about this sort of career and how much money is on it when I was in school, and if I told my parents about it, I do believe that maybe my path would have been even shorter, probably would be somewhere else even higher now. So something that I think the games industry should be doing is go more to schools and inform children that this is actually a career that you can do and you can have a good living. There's time, there's no overtimes every time all the time. So there is a life, I've got a life-work balance and I'm pretty happy the way I am and I love it. So I wish I knew that when I was younger.
I wholeheartedly agree, honestly. I feel like more education about this topic in schools would be something, because like me and my mum had to kind of dig to find this stuff out all alone, not inside our schools. And before that, I was about to sign up to be an accountant, which I can only imagine how badly that would have went. So yeah, I feel like more education. I feel like we're also getting a lot better as a society in terms of becoming more open-minded about, like, especially in the Black community, about like mental health and you know, different disabilities as well. Like, I suffer from incredibly bad anxiety, and the imposter syndrome is really horrible. And luckily, one thing that I think Criterion and Electronic Arts does is reassure me that, like, oh, we did pick you for your talent. You're not just a diversity hire. That was one thing that, like, my anxiety was horrible with at first. I was like, oh God, am I just here to check a box? So, being able to be reassured that, you are here because you deserve to be here and you're not just here to check a box is something that I feel like a lot more companies should continue to do.
Just to your point about education, I find that I hear there's a lot of games industry people that visit like De Montfort, for example, or usually courses that are geared towards roles in the industry. But obviously my role, my course wasn't one of those traditional courses. I think expanding it so that those who may not be taking a software engineering course or a specific art course can also know about it, because if I didn't stumble on that advertisement for an internship by chance, I probably wouldn't be sitting here, and I probably wouldn't have known that this was a job that I could do.
Yeah, I think that's some great points. And I think generally speaking, there's a lack of awareness about the games industry. And I think also beyond, I think if you ask most general public, what do they think the roles are in the games industry, they would say software engineers, they would say maybe artists and designers, and they would be the roles that they would think about. But there's over 20,000 people in the games industry in the UK. And actually a lot of them are doing other roles, because the games industry is the biggest entertainment industry in the world. It's bigger than film, it's bigger than music. It is by far and away the biggest of them all. And with that, large organizations have more than actually purely the game developers. So in the UK, we have around 1,000 people working in the games industry for EA in the UK, and maybe 200 or 300 of those are in marketing, in publishing, in PR, in finance, in HR, where I sit, and in all of the other kind of sub areas that any large organization would have. So even if you're not a developer, actually you can still have a career in games, and you can still be around that environment, see the kind of creations and the entertainment and the things that we share with our players. And I think there is a need to do more awareness of that and share kind of more with everyone. I'm going to give another opportunity for a question, because you don't get these opportunities every day, and if not, I'll throw another one out to the group. Was there any others? Oh, I can see one at the back there. Want to grab a microphone? There's a question at the back. There's a question. Have you got a mic there that we can take down? It's down there. She's coming.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. So, please, I have a question about transitioning into the gaming industry. So, I myself, I'm a software engineer with a few years of experience. But I'm currently undergoing my MSc at the University of Essex. But over the last couple of weeks, I've been trying to apply to some roles in the gaming industry. But even though I have like a bit over 5 years of experience in software engineering, it's been difficult landing a graduate route role, like a new grad role for like a gaming company. And I just want to know if you could give some tips of how I could try to transition to the gaming industry. Since I'm trying to focus on the software engineering side of gaming and not much on the game design part, but it seems like it's still pretty difficult to land a role in the gaming industry though.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. Well, I'm someone who transitioned over from a different industry into the gaming industry, and my advice would be it's those little extra things to show that your interest specifically in that industry. So making those comments that others have said about connecting with some of the people in the industry. If you can connect with software engineers at those companies you're interested in, drop them a LinkedIn message and say, I'm really interested in the organization, I'm really excited about working in games for X reasons, and I'm looking to apply. And what you might find is that they might introduce you to the recruiter looking after that role, and that might give you more of an opportunity. Also, you can write a cover letter as well, saying this is why I'm specifically interested in the games industry, I'm very passionate about X, Y, or Z, and that's why I want to do it. And the other thing I would probably say is game jams, or things that are more game industry specific that you could go and join and get involved in, and it will then be something you can say, not only have I got this experience as a software engineer already, but actually I've been doing this game jams and learning how my skills can be applied into the games industry as well. So that would be my advice.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like, just being able to tailor those transferable skills that you have for the job that you want is a very good way of getting your foot in the door. Like, attending playtests is also another really good way of getting into the industry, because you can just start making connections from things like that. And of course, LinkedIn. Please make a LinkedIn.
Yeah, I would just add, for anyone that's actually thinking about transferring from one industry to another, you need to look for commonalities between them. What can you do in your industry that is relevant to the industry that you want to go to. Look at what's close and try to showcase that the most. So in your case, software engineering is quite broad, and in games we use a lot of Python and Mel, and we use a lot of coding in Maya, for example. And you can also look at coding in a Real Engine, for example. That will be kind of close. If you can show that you can do coding in those areas and create some tools that could help animators to animate faster, animate better, for the engine to look better, those are the things that you need to look into if you're looking into transferring between one to the other.
Right, and at that, we're at time. I want to thank all of our team members here for joining us, and thank you so much for asking us questions and being engaged with us. And if you want to talk to us more, we're going to be over in the booth there, so please come and ask us any questions you want. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.